So, Module 5, Lesson 6 deals with inverses of linear functions. Make sure it's linear functions. So, one relation consists of the points A in the form AB. Okay, so when the other relation contains BA. So look at that. What's the difference between these two? Didn't the X go to the Y spot and the Y go to the X spot? All they did was switch. Okay? So, if I already went over that. So if I look at it in symbols, all we did, A switched to this, B switched to this. That's all that's happening. So, if I'm looking at it here, all I do is switch around the X and Y values. Okay? The graph of the inverses is the graph of the original relation reflected over this line. We'll talk about that more in just a second. So, if I'm going to rewrite this, and this is going to be the inverse, I change like so. I change like so. I change them around. I change them around. That's all you do. Over here, do the exact same thing. All we're doing is changing around the X and the Y. All we're doing is changing around the X and the Y. Oops, there's no comma. 3.05. That's all we did. Okay, remember? If I switch this around, the X value is now 9, negative 11. Negative 2, 0.3. Negative 8, negative 3. And 2, 3.5. Oops, I forgot to put a comma there. Can't see the point. Okay, so now this, okay, so what it's talking about is the line y equals x. That's this line right here. And all we're doing is switching the points around. So if I have this point right here, that's the point 1, 1. Obviously, it's not going to reflect anywhere. If I have this point right here, that's the point 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have this point right here, which is the point 0, negative 2. And I have this point down here, which is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I forgot the negative. So if I switch them around, I would still have 1, 1. So that point stays right where it is. Oh, I shouldn't be using this color. Nope. I'm going to use this color. Okay. Then I switch this one around, 4, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I switch this around, negative 2, 0. Negative 2, 0. And negative 5, negative 1. Negative 5, negative 1. And then I draw my line. And that is finding the inverse. Okay, it's not working. Come on. There we go. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is the inverse function. Not just having a relation, but we're actually going to use the inverse function. A linear relation that is described by generating ordered pairs in the inverse relation, with which we just did. Okay, if the function is this, then the inverse is this. And as this says over here, that little negative 1 is not an exponent. It is a way to indicate that f of 1, x, is an inverse of another one called f of x. Sorry, f of negative 1. So what we do to find it, we replace f of x with y. Okay, so I'm going to come down here. I'm going to change f of x to y. That's step 1. Step 2, we interchange the x and the y. So we're going to change this to x, this to y, and we're going to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. X minus 10 equals 5y. Divide by 5. So I get x over 5 minus 2 equals y. And then the last thing says replace y with f of negative 1x. So f of negative 1x, or the inverse of f of x, equals x over 5 minus 2. And that's all you do. This one, same thing. I replace my f of x with y. Then I change my y to x and my x to y. Okay, remember, to get rid of these fractions, I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So multiply this by 3, this by 3, and this by 3. I get 3x equals negative 2y minus 24. Okay, I'm going to add 24 to the other side. I'm going to get 3x plus 24 equals negative 2y. My brain is already doing the math. So then I get negative 3 over 2x minus 12 equals y. So if I'm going to write it, the inverse function of negative 3 over 2x minus 12. And there we have it. Okay. So it says Skylar and Carmen rent a paddle boat at a state park for $15 plus $14 for each hour used. C of x represents the total cost. So that's my y value. So C of x equals, so we have $15 plus 4 for each hour. So now I'm supposed to find the inverse of that. So this changes to y. Then I change my x and my y around. And I solve for my y. X minus 15 equals 4y. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. So I get x over 4 minus 15 over 4 equals y. So that means that I have C of x equals x over 4 minus 15 over 4. Okay, what does the inverse mean? So what x and y means changes. So it started off with, the x value was the number of hours. And this was the total cost. Right? Okay. So X is the total cost of renting a paddle boat. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the inverse. Okay. So X is now, I should have written that. Sorry, this was supposed to be in blue. So this is the number of hours. And this was the total cost. Okay, so now, because now it's the pink, X is now the total cost. And Y, or the inverse, is the number of hours. So all we've done is change what the X and Y are. That's all we did. So I forgot to put, yep, I forgot to put this part in. It wants to know $35. How many hours can you do this for? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug that in. So see the inverse 35 equals, I'm going to actually write it like this. It's going to make it easier. So the inverse of 35 is equal to 35 minus 15 over 4. The inverse of 35 is 20, not 200, over 4. So that means that comes out to 5. So that means 5 hours is how long they can do it for. Okay. So here we go. Javi is making candles to sell at an upcoming festival. He has already made 38 candles, and he makes 24 candles each day. C of X is the number of candles he has in his inventory, where X is the number of days. So C of X, he already has 38 candles. I keep wanting to say calendars. He makes 24 each day. Remember, each is one of those cue words that tells us that that's the part that's going to be changing. So that's my equation. Now I need to find the inverse. So I'm going to make that y equals 38 plus 24x. I'm going to change my x and my y. So this is now x equals 38 plus 24y. Subtract 38 from both sides, and I get x minus 38 equals 24y. Another one that I'm just going to leave the 24 on the bottom, because 24 doesn't go in evenly to either one of those numbers. So my inverse for this is going to be x minus 38 over 24. Now, we've switched this around. Okay, so with this, okay, so X was, when we first started, is the number of days. Okay, so X now, or Y now, is the number of days. And then C of X represented the total of number of candles. So the inverse is going to have the X being the number, or I should say the total number of candles. So I'm going to plug in 350. So the inverse of C, 350, equals 350, that's an equal sign by the way, minus 38 over 24. Let me get a calculator. 350 minus 38, I get 312 over 24. Yes, I know I have to write the rest of it. And divide that by 24. And I would get the inverse of 350 is going to be 13, and that's going to be 13 days to make 350 candles.